Hey people, Hanson here. Equestria at War is a Hoi4 mod about My Little Pony, and I think that tells you all you need to know about it. Now, it's no secret that I do enjoy a bit of pony genocide shenanigans from time to time, so when the Equestria at War team told me that they wanted to give me early access to the new update they're working on, I couldn't really say no. Daring Do and the Yaks That Smash. That's what the update's called, and since I couldn't quite find Daring Do on the map, I settled for the far more existent Kingdom of Yakistan. A nation that I've come to find out isn't based on Afghanistan, it's actually based on Mongolia. Something that you might have noticed just looking at the map is that right next to Yakistan there's a tiny nation called the Yaqui clan. And you may also notice that Yakistan and the Yaqui clan sound kinda similar. This isn't an accident. When you choose to play as the Yak countries, your whole game revolves around fighting the other Yak due to lore reasons that I didn't read, before you go on to form the Yak Khaganate or the Federation of Yakistan by invading your neighbors. Just normal Mongol shit, you know? But before that, you need to wait until the Yak War starts by keeping the clans happy in the Decisions tab and by doing some balance of power shit. And let me be honest, I don't really give a fuck about any of that. This could just be because I have the attention span of a goldfish, but whenever I see any of this balance of power or make the nation stable through decisions shit, I end up ignoring it as much as I can and just press random buttons in the hope that my nation doesn't collapse. Luckily, when the Civil War starts up, you don't have to worry about any of that shit, and instead you just have to worry about fighting the Yaqui clan. And let me tell ya, this Civil War is not balanced at all, because fighting the Yaqui clan as Yakistan is surprisingly easy. In a shocking twist of fate, having a bigger army than your enemy makes it very easy to overwhelm them. So after encircling and killing the entire Yaqui army, I capitulated them and won the Civil War. After winning the Civil War, my country inexplicably became democratic, probably because I was just clicking random buttons during the pre-war balance of power thingy. And after doing a few focuses and buying a bit of land, I ran into a bit of a roadblock. There was absolutely nothing for me to do. Now this is a pretty common issue I've had in Equestria at War, so I know that it's not a Yakistan specific issue, it's an Equestrian continent issue. You see, the Equestrian continent is almost entirely built around the Great War fought between the Changelings and Equestria, and that unfortunately means that playing in Equestria isn't really fun. And that lack of fun in Equestria also makes me question this update a fair bit. Now let me hit you with a bit of a philosophical question. If the biggest problem with the Equestrian continent is that the amount of fun you'll have playing in it completely revolves around whether or not you play a country that fights in the Great War, why the fuck are the Yak countries the ones getting reworks? Sure, Nova Graphonia and the Equestrian Breakaway states are also getting reworked, but the Equestrian Breakaways didn't have any content in the early access version that I was provided, and the changes made to Nova Graphonia were so small that the only new thing I noticed was that the Nova Graphonian Civil War is actually a civil war now. And even if Nova Graphonia had gotten a massive rework, and even if the reworks the Breakaway states are getting will completely change the way the Equestrian Civil War works, those things don't change the fact that Equestria as a continent revolves completely around the Changelings, which is kind of ironic when you consider that there's literally a country that's named after the continent. Now, does any of that mean that this update is bad? Absolutely fucking not. Yakistan has a pretty decent focus tree, and if you manage your country properly, you can become a very important part of the Great War. Add to this the fact that playing as the Yaqui clan is really fun, especially when you're playing as them during the Yak Civil War, and I can confidently say that this update is really good. But it's not the update that the Equestrian continent needed. Stalingrad needs an update. Olenia needs an update. Fucking Equestria needs an update. So while this is a pretty fun update that makes the Yak countries good and adds a great deal of flavor to them, unfortunately it's not the update that the Equestrian continent needed. And after you win the Yak Civil War, all the potential fun you could have as the Yak countries gets thrown out the window thanks to Equestria's changeling-centric nature. Now listen, I didn't really want this video to be a review, but I have to give the Daring Do Yak update a 2 out of 5. But unfortunately, I feel that this update's being released at the wrong time, and there's a few nations that could use a rework more than fucking Yakistan. Roll the horror.